You're listening to the Soju Sessions, episode 43 on the Soju Talk Nation podcast feed. I'm your host, Crispy, also known as Crispy Wonton or simply just Anton. And on today's episode, I'm going to open with STAYC Girls. It's going down. Yes, they have returned. They have come back with a brand new mini album, younglove.com, with lead track, Run to You. Amazing music. One of my favorite groups right now. So I decided to, write some stuff up to prepare for the show. They're going to go back into a retrospective on STAYC, everything that they've released up until this point, and kind of what the crew thought about from day one with So Bad. So as I was researching the past episodes, going back and watching the crew's reactions, they absolutely loved STAYC from day one. Really going back to see how enthusiastic Doug was about how fresh this sound is, how interesting the vocals are, and then Warren going into the quality of the music, the quality of the production, and then Anita, tapping into her soul with so much retro inspiration really got me to think about how this group has hit so many different people in so many different ways. And I'm talking about age groups, to different demographics, in business terms, to the 4-quadrant accessibility. And it really got me to think about why this group is popping off so much. And for starters, it's the characterization. I think the crew often talks about how a group is presented to the public, what is their character, and how does that develop over time. With them, we know they're teenagers, we know they're very young. In the first episode, on episode 113, I believe Doug mentions that Yoon is 2004. Yep, 2004. I was in high school at that time. And, they're very young, but they're characterized in a very youthful way, right? They're not characterized outside of, this age bracket. They're done so in a way that's very high teen. It's very fun and light, not taking themselves too seriously. But it all stems from the foundation of music. I think that's one big element of what Warren always comes back to. It's start with the music and then let the concept and let the promotions, let everything else fall into place. And I think Black Eyed Pilsen has done an excellent job of doing that. And it's insane that, he has been, it's a duo, have been this amazing for so long for other groups that they didn't have as much creative control over. And now with STAYC, we kind of get them at their peak powers. I'd like to kind of run through STAYC's songs and, figure out like why it is that their story is so relatable, right? And, we did start with So Bad. And then we moved right into ASAP, which popped off for everyone. Doug loved the song. Warren loved the song. Anita loved the choreo, even anticipating that this would be the start of many TikToks. In a lot of ways, ASAP might have been the catalyst to really push the rest of the industry into being this TikTok focused. I think we did have TikToks in the past. Zico, it was definitely kind of the start of that the year before, but before ASAP, there wasn't really a song or a trend as heavy as what transpired over the course of last year. It's incredible that a song that is very TikTok friendly for essentially a younger audience has hit the general audience in Korea and a lot in the States too. I can say that I've heard ASAP played in public and people may not be singing. People may not be dancing to it, but I can see it in their face that they glow and light up, that they've heard the song somewhere before. And then we move into Stereotype, which is a playoff of ASAP. A lot of similar elements with a lot of the trap inspiration, the hip hop inspiration, kind of the retro feel, but a much smoother take is how Warren put it. And, over time, it's really hard for me to decide which one I like more between ASAP and Stereotype. They do different things while also feeling extremely familiar, remaining in the high teen era of their concept. And now we have Run to You. We'll go into further detail with the guest today, but I do want to say this is another evolution, another step into maturation for this group. And then it really got me to tie all these 4 songs together as to who the group is, what their journey is, and what their story is, in addition to the quality of the music. And I think for me, it's a coming of age story. You know, it's so bad we get introduced to a group using drum and bass as kind of the unique quality of the music. So it's very high energy, it's high paced, with some retro inspiration, retro vibe. So it has that familiarity to capture old folks like me and Anita. But it really mirrors this idea of being a freshman or sophomore or first or second year in high school. Everything's moving so fast, everything's moving so quickly. You have a lot of talent, you have a lot of ability and the things you want to accomplish, but things just keep moving and moving and moving. And then things start to slow down when you get into junior year and senior year, you know, your 3rd and 4th year, when you're starting to plan things out, but you're also starting to hit the point where you're falling in love, you are growing up, you're maturing, you're seeing your value as a person, as well as trying to include other people in your life, whether that's romantically or whether that's with friendships. So that's ASAP, you know, let's get together ASAP. And then there's Stereotype, you know, kind of reevaluating and reflecting on who you are as a person. You know, Warren has a critique, has a nitpick, but you know, it's all in fun, honestly, because it's K-pop. It's supposed to be a little cheesy and corny and fun like that. But for me, with Run to You, it's kind of being the next step in the progression, the maturation, as I said just now. It's them going off into college. It's them being young adult women. Yes, some of the members are still teenagers, some of the members are still in high school, but the general concept is they're graduating from their high school, high teen days into high class, high fashion, but more exploratory, right? Not necessarily saying that they're going to be partying in these glamorous lifestyle choices. It's just, what are the exploration points that young people make when they're in college? So naturally, with K-pop, with, you know, exploring fashion, it is going to be set in kind of in a more expensive looking chic vibe, but there's still elements of the music video that do kind of show the progression and movement and speed of which life is moving at this point in their lives. Perhaps these things are passing them by. They'd love to experience them all, but they need to slow down and get there at their own time because, again, they are young women. And it's amazing because we're really seeing the coming of age story of this group, all with the foundation of amazing, brilliant music. And I think, again, I do want to just hammer that point home and really credit Warren for having that be his stance, in that this is not unique to just STAYC. Everyone in K-pop tries to do something where the group, whether it's a boy group, girl group, or soloist, progresses through their music, creates a narrative, creates a story. You know, some do it very explicitly with lore, some do it kind of naturally with just being older throughout different growth spurts, different vocal changes. But with STAYC in particular, they start with this very strong musical vocal presence, and they're able to grow and grow and accentuate little elements here and there as their discography grows. So let's touch on the album. Let's touch on younglove.com. It's an amazing album. I have not stopped listening to it. Shout out to all the Chu homies, Biff Mella, Delmonic, Zondi, Nina. Yeah, I really cannot get enough of the album. It touches so many different elements of kind of what I remember music back in the 2010s. Anita did bring this up, apologize, during So Bad, that this felt like a 2000 type of sound, but she couldn't exactly pinpoint what it was. And I think that's the beauty and brilliance of Black Eyed Pilsung as a production duo, as a team, that they're bringing these familiar elements from their past, from how they experience hip hop and R&B, certain influences and inspirations from the early 2010s, putting a modern twist and polish onto it, and then bringing it into K-pop with the foundation of these amazing vocalists, these 6 amazing vocalists. I can't harp enough on just how quality their singing is. So Run to You, we'll talk a little bit later. Same, track number 2. Amazing switch up, kind of a slow down pace from the title track. Great harmonies. I think this is the song where they flex their harmonies the most throughout their entire discography, their past songs. It has a very 2000s R&B. I said this in the past, but JoJo and early on Ariana Grande definitely seem to be the starting point for music like this. Please check them out if you like to hear examples of what it sounded like back then. But lyrically and mood, it's very much a lovebird song, right? It's a young person, inexperienced, still trying to learn how to get together, trying to see eye to eye with the other person, right? I mean, that in and of itself is a very common young coming of age trope and kind of step we have to take as far as growing up and kind of figuring out what we want in a partner. Shout out to Shein, the child actress, the former child actress. Her vocals, this entire album and this entire release are incredible. I think all of them are fabulous, but for me, she stands out the most because I do feel like she's belting and she's doing a little bit more flexing, but they're also unique in quality that they flow and complement each other so well. But she right here, Shein, is amazing as she belts kind of the end of the song. Then we move into track number 3 with 24/7, another R&B song, but it does kind of lean more into the hip hop realm. It's a great compliment to Same. It's a nice 1-2 punch, different pacing for this song. To me, it kind of evoked like b-boy type bounce. You know, if you've ever, like posted up with cardboard boxes and some b-boy music, you kind of understand the bounce and the rhythm of certain songs that you have to play to get the dance circle started. You know, you have to build progression into it. You can't just go into the super hard hitting track, but you have to have that bounce, right? I do love Jay's breakdown in this song. I think that was the standout moment. And it's got some rap type cadences in the singing. So not specifically just rapping, but using different cadences in their singing performances that mimic rap or feel like rap, but they're definitely singing and it's not just like talk rapping. Track number 4, Young Love, a switch up with alternative rock. Very coming of age. I think this is the prototypical coming of age type of sound. It's a great palette refresher from the first 3 songs. You know, we start off with very high power and high energy to R&B songs, and now something very different, something that's not typically that they've done in the past, a very genre shift, but I love it. It's very self-reflective. It's very introspective. It really gets you to think about what young love is, what it represents to you, what you don't know about love at this point in your life, especially them being young people and trying to figure that out, you know, being teenagers. Again, the story that I've created kind of in my head is that they are either at the end of high school or entering college. So that's still a very nebulous place to kind of figure out what love means to you. It's very complex. It's very unclear. The lyrics talk about being cold and being kind of separated from a person that you may have loved or want to love, or someone who loves you back, but you don't know how to express that because, again, you are young. And it is very young love. Track number 5, Butterfly, back to a very vibey R&B song. I mean, I can't get enough of it. Please give me more. The harmonies, man. Again, this album in particular, I do feel like they are leaning into harmonizing so smoothly in a variety of ways, right? I would say between this song, between Butterfly and Same, they utilize harmonies without overpowering or, you know, even feeling effortless in how they do it, to the point where it's just very smooth. It has almost a jazzy quality to it. So I'm imagining them playing this in a low lit lounge with a live band. And it's just a very, it eases you in to kind of the end of the album, right? It's the second to the last song. It's the penultimate song. It's the song that, it's setting you up to kind of, end your experience and your journey. Shout out to Isa, her high note at the end, absolute killer. And then I will say Jay works really well with the way that they, well, let me backtrack a little bit. So they did this really interesting part of the song where they had a false drop kind of at the bridge. I think it's the bridge. And it's Isa going from a high note into Jay where it's just piano, followed by harmonizing with Sumin and Yoon. I'm getting chills thinking about it. It's amazing. It's an amazing section of music. I highly recommend listening to this entire song. But when that part comes up, really take a moment to experience it, perhaps maybe without distraction, and just listen to it in your headphones. Because you do get to hear all the members just play into that song, into that section. And then you do have Cian and Xian kind of overlapping each other throughout that section. Beautiful. All 6 members just boom in that section. It's beautiful. I'm at lost for words. Finally, we have track number 6 with I Want You Baby, the end cap to the album, a trap R&B song. Again, a throwback to the 2000s, before some of these kids were born. But Black Eyed Pilsung does bring in their personal experience with the genre and them being alive at the time. There is elements of a bass wobble without being too dubsteppy. A little bit of a dub kind of feel to it, but it's very subtle, right? It's not this overwhelming like, oh, this is dubstep, this is dub. It's blended quite beautifully into trap and R&B. I'm saying beautiful like a million times just because I think this album is tremendous, and it doesn't overpower the overall through line of the album. And I think the through line of the album for me is that it's an R&B throwback using a lot of modern elements that we've seen over the past 20 years throughout music. So trap music, EDM, a lot of the bass wobbles of drum and bass and dubstep, but all, I don't know, packaged with a K-pop flair to it. Definitely polish. And I do hear a little bit of future bass, which is always something I welcome. I do like the chiller trooper, the chill suit. Excuse me, the chill future bass in songs from time to time. So that was my quick STAYC Girls YoungLove.com album, a little album review. We're gonna get into a deeper conversation with the guest coming up today. He is Koro Sensei. He is happy enough to join me for the show to discuss STAYC with their title track, Run to You. The reason why I wanted to have him on the show is I wanted an objective opinion, someone who is not a huge fan, is not as obsessive as me, but has great thoughts and opinions and has a lot of fun with how he plays into presenting those to everyone at the nation. So really happy to have him on, really excited to get into that conversation. So let's jump into it. Coming up, my chat with Koro about STAYC on the Soju Sessions. Joining Soju Sessions, one of the more popular guests on the show, making his return, a big Twice fan who right now is going through some stuff, but he's kind enough to join us for STAYC Girls, the one and only Koro Sensei. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello. I'm glad to be back. I wouldn't say popular. Maybe I'm no Zondi, but I try my best. Disclaimer though, before we start, obviously, I'm not the most tapped into STAYC, so apologies for anything in advance. But I know Crispy, the massive fan here, has got my back. So
I got you, man. Yeah, I mentioned in the open that I wanted to have a perspective of someone who is a little bit more objective, who is a little bit more detached from STAYC, not as much of an obsessive, huge fan like myself. So I figured, Koro, you got a lot of good things to say about most things in K-pop, and I'm always curious about what your takes are. So I got you on, and here we go. We're gonna talk about "Run to You," STAYC's brand new release. Um, I think the reception for this song in general has just been incredible for a number of reasons. But let's start with you. How did you feel about the music video and the song when it first came out? And what are your overall thoughts?
So for this song, I didn't watch any teasers, listen to any spoilers or whatever they're called. Because I think for STAYC, for me personally, that's like the best way to experience them because their sound, like it's all STAYC, obviously, it's all a Black Eyed Pills song, but it's like it can be so varied with each comeback. I think it's really interesting to just jump in blind and see what they give you. And boy, was it a roller coaster! This song, I think coming in, like as soon as it starts with Jay, and it just goes in. You hear like the boom 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 like that part, and I was like, okay, I'm in. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm in. I love that thumping. I needed that in my life. And then it keeps going. It hits the pre-chorus. I'm like, maybe not the smoothest transition, but it's happening. And then it hits the chorus. And for a second there, I was out. I was completely out. I was like, I don't know about this one. This chorus isn't really for me because I really like STAYC just singing. That's like I really love their chorus melodies, and like that instrumental that hit wasn't what I was hoping for. Then the second half of the chorus hit, and then you hear the little bit part, and I was all the way back in for the rest of the song. That part is so addicting. Like I don't know what they put in there. They injected some crack into the song or something, but it is so addicting. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And now I listened to it a good amount, and we could talk about the music video too. But I want to hear what you thought.
Yeah, man. No, I echo a lot of what you said about the beginning of the song. Right. I think it's a throwback to EDM music without sounding dated or obnoxious. Not to say the other songs are obnoxious. I'm just saying like there's a time where EDM is just like this is too much, where they bring you in with just the right amount of bass, with kind of that bass line in the back, and then Jay, boom, deep voice hits you, and I'm just like, okay, I'm sucked in. This is good. Pairing that with the music video, she's front and center. She's portrayed like very. It's all very glamour shots in this entire music video, but I feel like every member is characterized within their age bracket. I think that's what's really cool about it, where they're not overly matured, but they're also not just like kids anymore. They're kind of like in that nice spot of like they're growing up, they're coming of age into it. So, Jay having that opening, and then her still, being youthful, kind of fun with it. And then, like you said, like it does switch up a lot with just the different elements, the chorus. But I will I echo this, but just like Isa and the little bit, it's just that blows my mind every time. Like I don't know how a creative person could put that together and then say the world, you're not ready for this, but you are going to take it and you're going to enjoy it. And it's just going to be a whole thing. Overall, I thought the song is just very addictive in a number of ways, right? Because I do feel like they do tap into a lot of what's familiar with STAYC with subtle retro vibes. I think they are doing retro and synthwave. It's just very subtle relative to everyone else in the industry, while also capturing what STAYC is known for, which is their powerful vocals. What do you think about the singing and how it all came together? I know you weren't too much of a fan of kind of the passing off at certain elements with the chorus, but just overall with the group, were you able to kind of distinguish the different members and voices?
Yeah, I think this has been said a lot already about them, but that's definitely one of their biggest strengths, and definitely with one of Black Eyed Pilsen's biggest strengths, even back to like their work with Twice, which I'm more familiar with, because I think that's one of their strengths as well. But yeah, I think the only member that I don't like recognize instantly, I'd say Seun. I think that's how you say it. but obviously through a process of elimination, I can figure it out that way. But yeah, they all have very striking voices, and I think with the song like "Run to You," and I think with "So Bad" as well, like especially their low toned members and Jay and Sumin, like they really complement those instrumentals well. And then obviously you get like the switch up because Isa's voice is a little lighter and like sweet. I think that's how I like characterize her voice. It's very sweet. And then Sheehan obviously is just a beast. And the way she, this is getting like really specific, but the way she like ends the phrasing of like the end of her part when she says "run to you" and she kind of drags it out. It's a little like I don't know what the word is, like maybe desperate or something. It's like a very interesting way to do it because I think she's the only one that does it quite that way. And it's her singing throughout the entire song. It's like, however she was directed in the booth, it's very distinct compared to even like the way the other members are singing those same lines. So she really impressed me.
Yeah, desperation's a great word to put on it though, right? Because it's not necessarily like a desperation for like something. It's like the emotion of desperation, kind of like racing through something and having her be directed. It's like, this is what I want your voice to sound at the very end of these phrases. It's like you're running away from something, you're being chased. I think that's super cool, especially with her. This song and this entire album, they told her to go. It's like belt out everything, go powerhouse vocals on so many of the tracks. Not that she wasn't a standout before, but I feel like this is the album where it's just like, okay, Sheehan, you can do this. We're gonna give you some Ariana Grande type vocals. You know, maybe not the whistle.
Glad you said that.
Yeah, but it's there, right? You can see she's being pushed in that direction, and she has that ability. But also they're pulling it back, where it's like, but not too much. You just give the people what they want, and then leave them wanting more. And I think that's beautiful. Warren did an excellent job of talking about the instrumental and the composition. A lot of things that really illuminated the song for me, specifically the rhythm, the 1 2 3 2 2 3, and then also kind of the saxophone sampling. What did you think about Warren's takes and kind of his description of those two elements?
I thought I loved it. I think I even mentioned on the Discord, he like quoted Migos to talk about a STAYC song. And I was like, my worlds are colliding here because I love that triplet pace that a song can set. And I was even thinking like, oh, how would Migos rap over this beat? But yeah, it just like it kept the song at a place where you can't easily hop off the train. Like you can't just pause the song like I'm gone. Maybe and they talked about this too, like maybe with like the pre-chorus you can there, but then that obviously sets up really well for when the chorus comes back in. I can see what they're going for, but they want to give you that break so then the chorus hits even harder. But overall, I think that pace really worked for the song, and even though it's not quite the same thing and So Bad, it's something that I think like the pace of that song too, it worked for that song as well. And the saxophone or saxophone type thing, I don't know exactly, but at first, because I think that's where like it hits in the chorus, and I'm like, I don't know at first, because I think saxophone is a very tough instrument to work with. Like it's a very popular, not that they're like directly playing the saxophone, but it's a very like popular sound. You try to instrument for like building hype or like festival type sounds. But it's so strong. Like saxophone and trumpet, I'd say like they're so strong and overpowering, and can sound a little like grating at times if you don't implement them correctly. So I thought it was smart of them to have that instrumental there and then bring in the vocals in the second half of those sections to kind of placate you. So it's not like if it was just straight all the way through like that, I might not be listening to the song anymore. But I think they did a good job of balancing the two.
Yeah, now I think about it, those brassy instruments are so overpowering sometimes. There are many examples that you and I could probably name, but we're not going to. That it's kind of amazing that they're able to use just a piece of it to accentuate certain elements and then bring you into a different section. I think though the production on this song in particular, listening to it in your headphones, listening to it like all the details, there's a lot going on, but it's done so fluidly It's hard to sometimes delineate when those things are happening, but when you can point it out, you're like, wow, like there's very much an attention to detail with the production here that it doesn't feel like it's common in K-pop, right? Like they're doing a K-pop sound, like it's K-pop, but there's just something very unique about the fact that there are so many different musical components, different throwbacks to different eras and genres, and then the saxophone, the brass, the rhythm, the timing. It's just it's a stroke of genius. I don't know how else to describe it. It's kind of amazing. Yeah, I did want to ask one. Oh yes, so this part, Jay's rap. So she has this the second rap verse. How did that part hit you? And could you mash up a Migos song with just her rap in that section?
I think the key here would be ad libs.
Okay.
That's like the Migos signature. So if you have the J lines and you throw in a little, I'm not gonna do them because it might blow out the mic, but you know what I mean. Like those kind of ad libs, I think you definitely could. And the Migos, I know this wasn't like the center of the question, but the Migos triplet flow on top of those beats are kind of what like separate them, or kind of what like brought them to prominence. She didn't quite go that far. I think it worked for what she did worked for the song, but if doing something like that, it could have been really interesting as well. But yeah, I enjoyed her rap, and that like JJ ad lib before she comes in, or like tag or whatever they're gonna call it before she comes in, it really like gets you hype, because that first song with such a like that's really pushing the pace. It's really important to like really hit on when the second verse starts, because I feel like the second verse is like where a lot of songs make or break. Like they know what they're doing for the first verse. They have interesting melodies. Like when they're writing it, like, oh, I like this, and then they hit the chorus. Like, I like my chorus. How do I now do something different in between the first and second chorus to keep the song interesting and not just going back to the exact same melodies from the first time around? And that's where obviously K-pop throws in a lot of raps in the second verse, because that's like an easier way to distinguish them. But I think it really works here, because she also starts the first verse. So you get to see her vocal side, then you get to see her rap side. And it's the same person. And I think, honestly, thinking back, I think STAYC does this with all of their title tracks. I could be wrong, but I think she starts every second verse. I just think it works really well, because like you have like the singers going in on the chorus, and then you bring it back down to Jay, which really grounds the song and keeps that pace going. So I think it works, and they have a formula that's really working for them.
Yeah, no, I loved everything you said there. Pace, I think, is the through line for how this song kind of pushes you through different elements and different parts, right? Especially as you're experiencing the different members. Again, starting with Jay, like you mentioned, and then all the different singing sections right into the rap, and then we get the end and the crescendo. Touching real quick on the music video, I agree completely. They have a lot more money. Again, they're not in the net positive, is what the crew alluded to, which, it's K-pop. Most groups are not making money 2 years in, but you can tell that their cash is flowing, that they're more willing to expend on sets and outfits and CGI and glamour shots. I think that was pretty cool, that every member was a focal point of some part of the music video. So, I mean, it kind of just goes to show, it's more of a reflection on the success that they've had, and then also moving forward, what they anticipate their success could be, right? Yeah, no, great accompanying music video that doesn't overpower or overwhelm the song. Like if you don't watch the music video, I think the song works just perfectly fine on its own. Mm-hmm. All right, sir. We're getting into the meat now of this conversation. Kind of a switch up from my original plans, but you let me know that you listened to the album, and I'm super hyped. I did a quick album recap at the very beginning, so now I want your takes and your feel of just everything that happened with YoungLove.com. An incredible album.
By the way,
yes,
the
sir.
The name is very weird for like searching. What's it called? SEO, like with the hyphen and the but I understand they're going for the little text lingo, whatever type thing. So I get that.
Yeah. Like real quick, I think well for me when I saw it, it gave me vibes of 2000s where the internet was just starting.
Mhm.
And it's like, how do you create a .com? You put a hyphen into it because you have no idea what SEO actually is back then. Google didn't exist yet, so people didn't really understand like how to Google something. So I think it evokes that, but I think you're right as far as marketability and people finding this album. It might be a little bit challenging.
Mhm.
Yeah. But let's start with track number 2 with Same Same. What are your thoughts? It's a slow down trap R&B song with some harmonizing. What did it make you feel? What are your thoughts, Koro?
Same. The bounce on this song is amazing. Like it just, uh, like speaking of ad libs, actually, like I brought up with Migos before. This song, not only is the bounce great, but then like in those in between the lines, the ad libs, both vocally and like just like speaking ad libs. Because I think she in the chorus like goes in on like some of those vocal ad libs in between the lines. I really keep the song going because the chorus itself, like the main lines of the chorus, aren't like super drawn out or like vocally extended or any kind of way. It's more just like short, quick lines, and then she comes in with the Ariana Grande esque ad libs, and that's why I said I was glad you brought that up earlier because, and we'll talk about this with another song as well, but this and the next song felt very much in the Grande wheelhouse. Like I could perfectly imagine these songs on some of her previous albums. And I think that's mostly because like they're being inspired by the same era of music. But I was really glad to hear it in K-pop because this is like a different side of R&B I really enjoy too. Like obviously I'm a big fan of Red Velvet and they do like their brand of R&B, but this is like more of like a Pink Velvet maybe where it's a little lighter, it's a little more fun. I mean, Pink Velvet might actually be like a name of a Blackpink and Red Velvet fan stand thing, so maybe I don't want to use that word, but just in general, I thought it was really fun, and yeah, it was just great.
Fun bounce, 100%. I think if you hear the song, you will understand why it's called Same Same. And they use that title perfectly with the rhythm and kind of the sticking point, the earworminess of what that is in the song. And again, Sheehan is just a monster. Just it. I don't want to say it's her album, but man, is she given like these like powerful moments where you can't forget her.
Kinda is.
Yeah,
Kinda is.
yeah. I mean, all the numbers are great. Like I can also distinctly remember so many different elements of things that Suman does. Jay is amazing. Isa always has that lightness that you said. But Sheehan, it's just I don't know, man. There's just something about her where she kind of feels like the focal point. Man, let's jump into track 3, 24/7. You said it's a great 1-2 punch of R&B. This one has a little bit more hip hop inspiredness to it. For me, I kind of described it as like a b-boy bounce, so it's a little bit quicker to get people like dancing. Dancing. But what about this song is a great 1-2 from Same Same.
Yeah, it just keeps that energy that I like from Same Same, but it takes it in a slightly different direction. Like you said, the bounce is a little quicker, which is a good spot for the middle of the album, I think. Not like going completely left and like slowing down, which I think some albums might do. Well, one thing I do want to say about the song though is that it's called, like in the song they say 24/7, which I'm thinking like 20 like the week or whatever, 2 week hours, whatever the saying 24/7 like that kind of thing. But then the title is just 247, like 247. So when I first saw the title, I was like, obviously it's gonna be 24/7. Why is there no like slash there or something like an indicator? It's a nitpick, but it really threw me off because when they said 24/7 in the song, I was like, oh, of course, that's what I thought it was gonna be. But speaking of Jay, like you said before, Sheehan is being highlighted because they're making songs that I think perfectly work for her style of singing. Jay is just cutting through all of these instrumentals really well because it's like completely other end of the spectrum where she comes through both vocally and rap wise. And her verse toward the end of this song is probably my highlight of the album. That that verse is just amazing, and it really like cements the song. So I was glad to hear that.
I have that exact same note. I loved Jay's breakdown near the end of that song. I I'm at a loss for words, just how talented and smooth that she's being able to be incorporated into their music. Again, she is the youngest member. If nobody knew that, it's she has this incredible ability to capture you. I think a combination of unique voice, being able to rap, but also being set up for success with just how she is a contrast, like you said, to kind of the higher pitches of the group. Yeah, yeah, man. It's just I hit the microphone because I'm so excited. It's, any closing thoughts do you have on 24/7?
Well, I will say before we go into the next one, this is where after this song, this is maybe a spoiler, but after this song, I thought maybe this album isn't going to be maintain the standard. Let me just say that until. But then obviously things changed toward the end, so I'll just say that. But yeah.
No, that's a good tease, and we'll get right into it. So track number 4 is Young Love. It is very much a switch up. It's alternative rock. It has coming of age vibes. It makes you feel like you're driving down a highway on a summer, pondering, thinking about the universe, thinking about your future. But it seems like you have conflicting feelings. What are your thoughts about this song?
It's a good song. Maybe I hyped it up too much. I don't think it's like bad or anything. It just wasn't really for me where it's like it's a song I'm gonna seek out. I did add it to my playlist. It's a song where I think I won't skip if it comes along. But same and 24/7. I'm like seeking those out. Listen to those a bunch of times since the album dropped. But this one, I think honestly I maybe only heard it the first time, and then I was like, it's pretty good, but it's not really my thing. I can like an alt rock song here or there, but it's really got to grab me. This I kind of put was like that TXT long name song that I wasn't really feeling either. But it's all right. It's all right.
That's a good point. I think if it's not in your genre of music that you typically enjoy, it very much fits with the TXTs of the world, right? I want to also say Day6, but I also don't know their music well enough to group them together. But I do get that sense, right? It's a little bit alternative, it's a little bit rock, but they do keep a level of pace with the song that is still similar to the album, right? It's still much quicker, but it's not like a hard hitting like alternative emotional impact song. It's more of a reflection. Thinking about what young love is and kind of the uncertainty and the unclearness of finding someone in your life, which it's a palate refresher. It's right in the middle of the album. It's a little bit of a switch up from everything. It's slower, and then it gets you right back into a more similar genre throughout the song. Any final thoughts?
I will say about this song, one note I did have is that the beginning of the song, I think it starts with Jay, and Jay's voice like sliced through this instrumental so like cleanly that I legitimately thought this was like a feature or something. Like I didn't even realize it was her for a second. I had to like, I wasn't like looking at my phone, so I like went and checked. I was like, oh, did they feature someone on this song? Because her voice, I don't know what it was about it. I think that's just like a great quality of hers in general, is that you can have like an element that feels like it's not quite like a male stereotypical voice, but it's like it's distinct enough from the rest of the group. You can have that presence, that element in a song where it feels like you can have like a different register completely. That really makes the song more dynamic.
No, I'm like thinking about everything you're saying in real time, and just I don't think it's been highlighted. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe I should rephrase that. I feel like that isn't a part of Jay, where it's like her deep voice is the reason why you can contrast it so beautifully with everything else, right? Because for the most part, like the rest of the girls, they sing really well, but they are more familiar with what we know of girl groups and just like how female musicians would typically sing. Where she just comes in so uniquely, it's very deep. The comparison that Doug made at episode 113 was Yuchi from G Idol.
Mm-hmm.
She's very good as well. And I hope that she gets music in the future where she can kind of accentuate a lot of those elements. But she and Jay, kind of give, like you said, a more dynamic sense to the song. And I think that is what matches really well with Young Love in particular, because it is kind of a more somber song. It really gets you to think. Oh man. That's my brain's just like going a million miles an hour. All right. So track number 5, we got Butterfly. Back to a vibey R&B song. Back to the harmonies. Freaking harmonies, man. Like, guys, what is going on? How are you feeling about this one?
This song, it's good as well. Also added it to the playlist, and it's like more my style, which I thought I'd love it, like the same as same in 24/7. Something about it just didn't grab me in the same way, and I can't quite put my finger on it because they sound great. They sound great, just like in the other songs. I think maybe it was just a little too on the mellow side for me compared to the other ones where it had that. I really like my bounce and my R&B. I still think it was a good song though.
Yeah, it's much more pulled back relative to those other two songs, right? I do feel like it's something. It's a little more jazzy, is how I feel about it. And it doesn't have the same, I guess, like radio playability. Is kind of how my brain is like wrapped around it. It's a nice, like, complimentary song, but it's definitely more of a we're ending the album soon. We want to give you guys a nightcap, and we're gonna play this smooth jazz to kind of ease you out of it. What are your kind of thoughts on the way that the vocals were overlapped a bit in this song? I was really curious, just like how they were able to pull everyone together. Specifically, Sheehan and Cian. Saying both those names, man, it's difficult, but I'm gonna try my best. And then kind of Yoon and Sumin. How I think it's near the end of the song where you get to hear all of the vocals kind of interplay together. How do you feel like that was a way to end the song?
I think that was particularly because of my slight hesitations with the song. I thought that was a great way to end it, and that like kept me. That's like why that song's on my playlist, maybe, because for most of it, I'm like, it's good, it's serviceable, it's a good album song. I'm not like really looking for this again. But then having that toward the end really brought some excitement to a song that isn't even trying to be exciting. I'd love to hear how, with a group that's vocally distinct, hearing how these voices directly complement each other as opposed to like one after the other, which is how like most K-pop goes. I thought that was a strong way to end a song that's so vocally driven as well.
Yeah, and Warren has brought this up. I think it was either Stereotype or ASAP that in a lot of K-pop, it's really just your turn, my turn, 1 2 1 2, where Black Eyed Pilsung, STAYC in particular, has a really nice way of blending a lot of the vocals together, blending a lot of the members, and knowing which members to put next to each other. I think some of the patterns that I'm noticing is that Isa, Jay, and Sheehan typically are within the same range of each other, but so different, all three of them, right? And then Yoon, Sumin, and Zian are the three that are kind of blended together, more similar in sound, but again, like unique enough where I can tell you that's Sumin because she's a little bit more deeper. And then Yoon and Cian have the more prototypical like K-pop female voice, right? Very good, but it's something that's more familiar with the rest of K-pop. And I think the end of this song is a really nice encapsulation. If you're like a music producer, you just want to hear like a sample, I think that's a good spot to go for this album, and then Butterfly in particular. All right, let's get into track 6, the final track, I Want You Baby. It's the end cap. It's a trap R&B. It's a throwback again. What are your thoughts, man? I mean, we're in the Ariana Grande stages of everything. Jeez.
They got me back. They got me back with this one. That's what I kind of hinted at earlier. the first two, obviously aside from the title track, the first two, I was like, this is for me. The next two, I was like, these are good, but maybe not like my cup of tea necessarily. And then this one came back in and it cemented the entire album. I was like, yeah, this is a good album. Um, I think it would have been anyway because three to, I don't know. I try to think of like good songs versus bad songs in an album to think overall if it's good. Because especially because K-pop albums aren't necessarily like you're not looking for cohesiveness directly. You might be just hearing like a playlist of good songs, which is a lot of. It's an interesting discussion. That's like a thing Warren talks about a lot that I find interesting. But this song, they like they just smeared butter all over this beat. It was just so smooth. It was I don't know. And the song, I don't know if you remember the song. It's like Khaled Talk. I don't know if you remember that song.
Yes.
It's like
yeah. I know. Yes, 100%. God, that was back.
if you can think of that, yeah. If you think of that chorus melody, this song sounds just like it. It obviously sounds different enough to
I cannot hear it anymore. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
right there. It's right there. I could at first I heard it and I was like, what is this song? Like I know this song. It's obviously different enough, but yeah, it's just so good. Yeah.
All right, I gotta follow up. So that is the first time that's ever occurred to me that Khalid. I never know.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yeah. If you don't know who he is, he's a very young person who is an amazing R&B vocalist, but his music is not just R&B, right? There's a smoothness to it. There is a feeling. There's an emotion. Like if you're not an emotional person, it'll make you emotional because he talks about not just romance, about life and things. And now I'm like hearing what you said, like the comparison between that song, or just Khalid in general, and then the R&B type stylings. That is exactly what I'm getting from this album now, and my brain is just it's broken. I might put a playlist with Khalid, and the STAYC album, and kind of seeing how it plays off of each other, because I do feel like there are so many similar parts to how those songs were constructed and the way they feel and sound. Man, Koro just blew my mind.
Without even knowing the correct name. The more you say Khalid, I'm like, it might be Khalid. I don't know, but yeah.
I never know either, so I'm just gonna roll with it. It's cool.
Yeah, it's all good.
But no, I think you just killed it on that one. Yeah, check out the album, guys. Koro just absolutely destroyed. A brilliant album discussion, overview, recap, review, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, there's just so much to the quality of the production of this album that we can't sum up. So if you get a chance, give it a try yourself. See kind of the emotions and feelings you get out of. Listen to STAYC. Arguably one of the more popular groups in K-pop right now for a number of reasons. Whether that's through their TikToks, through just being a young, youthful group that kids can connect to, or somewhat like middle, older-ish people are appreciating the musical quality, right, of STAYC, and I think they're hitting it all. All right, man. We're gonna move into some closing thoughts, and we're gonna catch up with you, sir. So, Twice is touring. They're doing some stuff. They're in the United States. I'm gonna be nice. How are you dealing? How are you feeling? How are you doing with this news and this information?
I'm in so much pain, Crispy. I'm in so much pain. Not really. I mean, it does hurt a bit that they're so close yet so far. But it doesn't hurt as much as maybe for countries that aren't even getting them. So I can't complain. Sorry, Biff. I hope they go to Brazil someday. I really hope so. But yeah, I'm glad they're here though. It seems like the concerts are going well. A lot of people are having fun. I've been watching clips and getting that FOMO. Enough where I was very torn for a long time about still am because they haven't come to New York yet, but I'm just happy to see they're doing well. It looks like everyone looks happy, healthy. I think they cancel all other promotions outside of the concert to keep things running smoothly. And obviously Junghyun's there, and she's receiving a lot of love from what I've seen. So it looks like a fun time.
they really are having a great time on stage. It does feel like it's been a long time coming. That they are just happy to be back in the United States. With all due respect to Korea and just how people are. I love the fact they're so humble and they're just the humility is just off the charts, amazing and receptive. The United States, say what you will, us Westerners, us kids here are just some kind of wilding out with our K-pop idols, and when they come here to perform, and just hearing the crowd in the back of all the videos, just the way people are responding and the way that the members are feeding off of it, it's truly heartwarming. And I feel your pain about you not going. You still have an opportunity.
I do.
Just saying, I missed my opportunity on Friday, but it's okay. It's fine. I'm good. I'm over it. No, I'm not. I was pissed because my friend asked me, it's like, hey, did you go? Because we were talking about BTS because she used to like BTS. And I was just saying like, oh yeah, V has a song on an OST. And then she goes, speaking of BTS, did you go to the Twice concert? It's like, about that. I didn't. Thanks for reminding me. And then I closed my phone, I turned it over, and I walked away. Because I didn't want to say things that would make me seem like I descended into madness, but I actually had. With all that said, how's the server going as far as reminding you of your perhaps duties? I don't know, how should we put this? Being in proximity of them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they're on to me. They're on to me. But I like it. It's a lot of fun. I don't mind. Because it's all on me. I really, I'm messing up here. I know I am. I'm really praying and hoping that they come back. They're saying they're going to come back. I'm hoping it's going to be a while. So it's going to be after I graduate and I'll be home, like home and near all the venues that they'll be, any venue that they go to in the area. But yeah, they're if you don't come check, I know you do occasionally, but if you don't, come check out the Twice channel. Come give me some stick for it. I appreciate it because I do deserve it. So it's fun though.
Koro, you're a very receptive, kind person to allow that into your life. You are a stronger person than I am, sir. Yes, the Twice channel is amazing. It's very active. Shout out to Shinboy, Biff Milla, Ben, I believe is another
Ben's up in there.
Very active member. I apologize if I missed any. Do you have any off the top of your head that you can remember?
The Twice channel. Ara pops in. You pop in. I really, now that I'm naming people.
Yeah, I can't remember right now, right? People. Yeah. Thanks to the bot.
I feel bad. Frankie. Chad is in there too.
Chad pops in.
Chad went to the concert yesterday, I believe. Yeah, a bunch of other people. We have fun in there. Sapidus. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yes, Sapidus. Yes. I think fairly new, but very active in that channel. And Min, who was trying to get tickets with us.
Yeah.
I think she got tickets, maybe, for the LA show. Yeah, man, we're a united front here. I think we're pretty good about our love for Twice, and it's a nice tie-in considering Black Eyed Peas song has worked on a number of songs with them, a number of memorable cornerstone songs, I would say, between the first song, like Ooh-Ah. There's a Korean part of it. I just don't know how to pronounce it.
Ooh-Ha-Ge or something. Yeah.
And then Likey is the other track that. Like, you hear it and you're like, yes, I hear all of the inspiration. Koro, this is an excellent episode. Thank you for joining me, sir. Any final thoughts, closing thoughts you have for everyone, for the nation, for the rest of the week?
Ooh, rest of the week. Oh, actually, I haven't heard it yet personally, but I've been hearing a lot of things about this NMIXX song. Not great things about this NMIXX song. By your face, I'm telling you, maybe you've heard it and you have thoughts. I don't know.
I watched the video once. When's ITZY coming back?
That's a good question.
That's what I came out of it with. I was like, I miss ITZY so much.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm not going to. I won't go into any further detail. If the time comes where I have to talk about it, I will do that. But otherwise, I would love to see you come back with some music, and yeah, that would be great. Please, let's do that.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, man. All right, Koro. Well, great time as always, sir. Let's sign out. Thank you everyone for listening to the Soju Sessions on the Soju Talk Nation podcast feed. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and continue the conversation on the Soju Talk K-pop podcast Discord. For Koro, this is Crispy, and this has been the Soju Sessions.